operations report. It's at your discretion to what information you want to get. The only time that you guys get together and are able to be able to talk about district business is at this meeting. You can't do it outside the meeting. So that's why you direct to have these reports for your information on this agenda. There's no requirement to take continued and extending public comment on each and every item covered in every report, because we could be here all night and not even get to the action items, which is what you're required to do. You're required to vote and take action on items that are on the agenda. The reports typically are, the reports that we're doing now typically aren't directly related to those items on the agenda. They're usually addressing issues from previous meetings or things that have come up that need some public discussion or input. When it comes to my written report, there's absolutely no way that I can address each and every point that comes up during the entire month. There's just, there's a lot of action that goes on. There's a lot of questions that are asked. There are a lot of concerns expressed. There are a lot of emails generated back and forth. So we do our best, I do our best to try to convey what we can in these reports. And then as items come up, as they did in the board meeting today, one good place to go back and get information is to go back and look at the historical general manager's reports. If it's not addressed in there, and many times it is, then let's address it. Let's raise the issue of fire hydrants. Let's raise the issue of accounting and ask for a specific response. I'd really love for these reports to be very useful in addressing these questions. So that said, specific, this is one that is not in the written report, but oath of office is not required of a general manager, whether it's a contract general manager or an appointed general manager, employee or not. It's elected. The oath of office is for elected officials, because the only way that you can be removed from office if you don't do your job is by recall or resignation or censure. And with me, as a staff person, contract staff person, I can be removed for not upholding the Constitution immediately. For board members, it's much different. So anyway, I did take the oath in another office, in another location. I'd be glad to do it here. It's not I believe in it, and I strongly support it. So that's, I actually intended to do it. So it's just, it's a procedural matter that the board members need to go through. Addressing specifically in my report, I don't need to hash it out all the way through, but I addressed some of the human resources issues. Well, first off, I talked in the very beginning about what the difference was in the board packets. If you want to see the agenda items, the staff reports with the headers on them, this is the one with the header. There's really no difference between the document. And then this does not have some of the miscellaneous documentation, such as the Calaveras County Water District requirements that were used as a reference point, but not intended to be included in it. So there are full copies available to public. These go this way.
And I got more printing over there, and they should be ready in a little bit.
So this is a new agenda and packet?
No, the agenda is identical.
Oh.
What I'm saying is that the staff reports that were in this report, some of them were duplicated and there were extra pages, and some of the staff reports that were in here were printed from the wrong program. They didn't have the header on it. That's all. So,
anybody who wants them, these are extra.
Yeah, you can just pitch them to the side, and I get them when we're all done.
okay.
We're going to be on what we got not on this.
You can use either one. I expect that you will ask me questions more, because the questions were raised by board members between the packet distribution and today. And we realized today when we matched the documents up that there was some extra stuff in this and it was numbered incorrectly, that's all. I just, when I walked into when I had a question specific to a resolution that had an incorrect document or an extra document, then I decided we needed to redo some of the materials in the packet. I could have left it the way it is, but I just I felt bad about it. Anyway, just wanted to let you know on the staffing side, when it comes to our staff, we do have 3 operations staff. They're all certified by the state. 1 is certified at the level of this system, at a D2, T2, and that is the requirement of the state of California. And that is something that we absolutely have to maintain. We have to have at least 1 employee that is certified at that, and it doesn't mean that they have to work 24/7. It just means that someone that is in that, either through contract or employed, has to be that certified operator, meeting that state certification for the plant. That doesn't mean we can't have each and every one of our employees certified at that level. You just have to have them with that responsibility, and we are looking at that. Within the next 2 months, we will have on the agenda discussion about the organizational chart, the staffing, the certification levels, and what our future plan is. So plan on that within the next few months. That is required by the State of California Department of Public Health for the certification. Also, just from a procedural, from a logistical perspective, whenever you have somebody out, when you've got 3 people in the field, you've got somebody out, and then you've got, let's just say somebody had already scheduled a vacation, they're gone. You got somebody out sick, that leaves you with 1 in reality in the field. So that can get a little bit tight. I just wanted you to know that did occur last couple weeks ago and became an issue. But I'm not proposing to hire additional people just to wait around for somebody to get sick. We've got a very efficient crew, and we can make it work. Communications, we're continuing to work on the upgraded website. That's going to save us a lot of money from our current site, and it's going to be something that we can update and make much more user-friendly than our current system. Right now, you can't even load it on a tablet or a cell phone, and most people want to have that capability. That'll make it much easier for us to communicate, because it's pretty obvious that with a lot of the misinformation and extra information going around about some of the things that we have done that we're going to address in this meeting and future meetings that are stated incorrectly to where people are getting upset about things that we've done completely correctly and completely by the book. And I'll come back and address that more. The Department of Water Resources grant, that's another $1 million grant that we received for 3 projects that were in our capital improvement plan, and also priorities in the region. So we will receive that. That's also, I identify it here, it's attached to my report. It is a scope of work for the 3 projects and for the reimbursements that we're going to receive for the cost of writing the grant application for this. And this was an item that was on the board's agenda, I believe, a couple months ago, where we talked about the fact that we asked for full funding at $3.5 million, and we got a little over $1 million. I'm not going to reject it because they gave us $1 million and say, sorry, we don't need it, but because that $1 million is equal to several dollars a month for every customer. And that's to replace the service laterals, to complete the wells, which we got the USDA grant, so we'll be able to put that money all into service laterals, and then the regional water conservation program. So that's in there in detail. The budget's also in there related to that project. Obviously, you can see that Lake McClure is up on our fixed pumps. We could be operating the fixed pumps, but we've got some maintenance work that needs to be done with those pumps underwater so that we can actually operate them, go through the control valves and the electrical circuitry and get those up to speed. And we'll be performing that over the summer. But likely those pumps will be once again out of water by the time we get into fall. That would be good.
We're on a lake using the barge, is that right?
Yes, we are. Exactly. We've got the lake is full enough where our fixed pumps have water covering. We could be using the fixed pumps, but because they've been out of water for 3 years and they were in disrepair before they went dry, Now that we've got water on them, we've got to go through a process of updating those and repairing them. But we've got a good amount of water supply. It'll get us through the year. We've got the barge, and then if anything fails there, the water level drops, or we're limited, then we've got the wells as backup supply. I'm not aware of any evaluation that the district is doing to use the wells for anything other than an emergency source of supply. So I'm unfamiliar with that discussion, other than we're evaluating the cost per acre foot to operate.
Jeez.
I'll repeat it again. There's nothing on the agenda of the board that, or in any direction of the board, that those are to be used for anything other than emergency supply.
Any recent
Not now.
inquiries?
Not, what's that?
Was there any recent inquiries for outside place to use water?
I haven't had
Either
any.
you or Cindy?
I haven't had any.
By recent, what would be the last time somebody actually asked?
I had when I first got here, I had a property owner for the same property that I was working on in 1997 when I left here, that was supposed to develop then, that was considering developing now, and they were wondering if water supply was available, and I said, we've got a resolution in place prohibiting any water commitments. And we're going into a drought where we don't know the outcome, and so they submitted their project to the county as a well-only project. So I can't make any commitments to anybody for any water supply, and that was, I don't know, a year and a half ago, and I don't think they've gone anywhere with the project. But nobody has asked for a connection or asked for any entitlement in the time that I've been here. Thank you. So the groundwater well status, anybody that drove in from the southerly direction probably saw that we have the contractor out installing the pipeline across the easement that we just acquired that goes from well 5 over to Merced Falls Road, taps into the 18-inch raw water line. That will be done within a week. It's going to take probably a week to get that pipeline in, worst case scenario. Once that is in, that will be the pipe that was on top of the ground is now being reused back in the ground. It's got to be pressure tested and disinfected and all that. But the fences will need to be completed. That well number 2 defense will be completed. It was it was intended to be at the end of last week. It looks like it's going to be this week to get that fence in. Again, this pipeline will take 5 days, and they're going to immediately move on to well 5 and the Medina well and do the above ground piping. That's another 2 days to 4 days to complete that. And then the SCADA is all that is left, and that's the control system. That is the parts have been delivered. It is in Auburn. It is being constructed in their shop, and then it's brought out on site and installed and programmed. So, and we are on track to receive the reimbursement from Department of Water Resources. I call it number 1 and number 2. There's 2 different grants. We are prepared to receive authorization to submit those 2 reimbursement requests, and those, I haven't seen the final numbers yet until they get back from the state, but it's approximately $250,000 for that. We've already got, you'll see it on the finance report, another $150,000 in receivables from the State Water Board grant. And then all of the construction, like I said, will be done here in the end of this month and beginning of June. So then all of the remaining receipts, everything that we've received, then gets submitted to the state, and we get reimbursed all the way up to everything we've spent.
The well projects gross to about $2 million. Over the past, we've been saying our target, if we thought we would be spending $400,000
Right.
to have those wells in place, and that included buying the 17 acres.
Right.
The truth of the matter is, it's actually going to be closer to 300,000. Is that why?
265, 270,
Plus
something
the
like that.
13 or 15,000, I believe, or it's a little bit more. But $300,000 really. So we spent $300,000 for 300 gallons a minute.
And that includes 2 wells we couldn't use.
Wells plus acreage. So we got a lot of solid benefits for $300,000.
Right.
Thank you.
I mean, the property alone, we still have to go through the evaluation, but the property